Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland, UFC 328. I feel like this is controversial to say maybe, but this is the first pay-per-view I've been excited about since, gosh. It's the first pay-per-view I've been really excited about since Islam JDM, maybe. Yeah, seriously.
Really?
Yes. I
Not
think
JD, not Patty and Gaethje? Or anything
Patty
like that?
Gaethje was pretty good, but
Dude, Holloway Charles, man, you can't say that was not like the fight did not really execute, but like the anticipation, dude. Like
the anticipation was good. I just think I was tired of seeing the same matchups over and over again. Like, I just feel like I've seen so much of Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. Like, all those guys have just been fighting each other over and over and over again for years. And I'm just tired of it. Like, I'm tired of rematches. I want to see fresh matchups. And Khamzat versus Strickland is a fresh matchup. Khamzat versus DDP felt like a fresh matchup. Like, two people who are finishers, and it's a fresh... I don't know. I think Khamzat is exciting too. Like, he's just an exciting fighter. He's got such a unique style. He's one of those guys that when the fight begins, you're like, how is this going to look? I don't know who like, it could be so chaotic. And yeah, I love Max Holloway. I think Max Holloway is one of the most talented fighters on the UFC roster. When it comes to like his well-roundedness, I think he's incredible. I think Charles Oliveira is a better finisher than Holloway. He's more aggressive. That's why he won that fight. Obviously, he didn't finish him, but I think just his finishing mentality, his aggression, that's kind of what ultimately won him that fight, and his superior wrestling. But I think Max Holloway is he's a difficult fighter. Like, his style is tried and true. It's been tested against the best fighters in the world, and yeah, he hasn't won every fight, but he's just very, very good. Anyways, this is not about Max Holloway. I'm just saying, with Khamzat, before the fight, you're like, dude, I don't know what we're about to watch. This fight could be over in 30 seconds. And it's very rare when you have somebody like that.
That's true. I guess Holloway, you kind of know every time what he's in a fight like.
Yep.
Like, I always go into a fight and you're into watching one of his fights, and you're like, yeah, he's gonna like stay on the outside, throw a bunch of oblique kicks, and kind of just jab him up and throw 1-2 every once in a while. You know what I mean? That's just kind of like what he gets.
Dude, I love Dustin Poirier. I love Max Holloway. But when their fight was booked for what was it, UFC like 318 or something?
Yeah.
To me, it was so obvious that Max is going to win that by decision. And the fight looked exactly how I thought it was going to look. To be fair, I didn't expect Poirier to get hurt so early in the fight. I didn't expect Poirier to hurt Holloway as badly as he did in the second round. That was a nice, pleasant surprise. But generally, I was like, this fight is like, I know exactly how Dustin Poirier fights. I know exactly how Max Holloway fights. Holloway's going to get a decision win. And it was like the easiest pick of all time. This fight, Khamzat Chimaev is a minus 550 favorite. I think I agree with that. I just, you know how sometimes you just kind of have a gut feeling about something? You're like, yeah, Sean Strickland is the number one contender, but I just have a gut feeling he's not up to chops to fight Khamzat. That's how I feel. Like, I think Khamzat is as good as my gut probably thinks he is, which is that, like, he will probably win this fight by finish pretty early.
It's in 2 rounds.
Khamzat is tricky because he shoots takedowns very, very aggressively. When he fought Dricus du Plessis, he shot a takedown within 20 seconds of each round. Within 20, most of the time within 10, sometimes even within 5. He will be shooting a takedown almost instantly, and Strickland knows it. But defending is a lot harder than it seems because Chimaev's stand-up is actually kind of underrated. He has fast hands. He will throw head kicks. He will throw all kinds of stuff. It's not like he just has this. He's not like Khabib. Like, when Khabib first came to the UFC, his stand-up was kind of atrocious, but his wrestling was so good that he could kind of make up for it. That is not Khamzat Chimaev. Chimaev is a much more mature fighter than like someone like Khabib was early in his career, even late in his career. Like, when Khabib fought Gaethje, his stand-up still looked a little clunky. Chimaev's is way faster, way smoother, way more intimidating, and it demands the respect from his opponents. That's why, even though Dricus du Plessis absolutely knew that Chimaev was going to be shooting a takedown, he got caught basically trying to check a kick against Chimaev in round one. Like he brought, I'm not saying check a kick like a low kick, check a body kick. Like he brought his knee, like Muay Thai style. Like he brought his knee up all the way, like he was going to try and check the kick on his shin, like a body kick. And he was on one leg. Chimaev shot the double and finished it. Right. And that was within 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds, Chimaev had DDP saying, I need to actually like take his stand up seriously. And the way he shoots takedowns is different than anybody else in the UFC. It's just different. He shoots low. He shoots from far away. But what makes... And he primarily shoots double legs. He's very good from the body lock as well. We saw that against DDP, and we saw that against like someone like Kevin Holland, for example, and Kamaru Usman. He got to the body lock a handful of times and took him down. But the body lock is usually something that, he shoots a double leg. He kind of gets stuffed a little bit, and he gets pulled up, and then he has his body lock, and he can work from there. It's actually one of the best ways to get to a body lock, because when you think about it, a body lock is actually not a super easy position to get to. You're wrapping your hands around someone's torso, which means you have to close a lot of distance, and their arms are generally going to be in the way. So usually how it ends up happening is you shoot a double leg, right? So you shoot below their hands, so you clear their hands, but somehow they sprawl or maybe, stuff their weight on you and just pull your arms up. But when your arms are on their legs and they pull them up, they're going to be around your waist at that point. And so you basically get to a body lock from a failed double leg. Happens all the time. And but Chimaev, he commits harder to his takedowns than almost anybody. I remember last year I was making a video on Khamzat before his fight with DDP, and I was trying to break down his the way he shoots takedowns. And I remember thinking to myself, he's doing everything you're kind of not supposed to be doing. Like when I was using his video against, or I was using his fight against Robert Whittaker. And there's a freeze frame where he's shooting, he feints a little uppercut, like a little double, kind of like one of these, and then he goes down, right? Just to kind of get his opponent to hesitate for a second. And there's this freeze frame in the middle of his shot where it looks like he's literally on all fours. Like his chest is completely facing the ground. Generally, when it comes to shooting any kind of double leg, or really any takedown for that matter, your posture matters a lot, because if your chest is over your hips, like you're facing the mat, and your opponent just drops their weight on you, your face is going to go flying into the mat. You're going to get spiked into the ground, and your shot will probably get stuffed. Chimaev, though, is so good at running his takedowns. He's good at, he does not just shoot a double leg where he'll level change, shoot, drop onto his lead knee, pop up, and then turn around the corner like a typical double leg. He can't, obviously he does that, but generally he takes multiple shots. He will get low, he will level change, and then he will literally run his feet forward to just run his opponents down. So he's just constantly pressuring forward. That's one thing. The other thing too is he's good at creating angles. A lot of times getting sprawled on, it's problematic if your opponent stuffs your face in the ground and you're kind of stuck facing them. But Chimaev is constantly creating little angles, which makes it really, really hard for his opponents to stuff takedowns. A good example of that is if you rewatch the first round against Kamaru Usman, he shot from really far away, and Usman kind of stuffed the shot, the initial contact. When Chimaev made contact with him, Usman kind of stuffed it, but he didn't stop running him down. He just kept shooting, and shifting his angle a little bit until eventually he got him down. He just commits so hard to his takedowns. And yeah, I think that his fight with DDP was slightly concerning in the sense of he was very content to just kind of pass DDP's guard, get to a side crucifix position and kind of just lay down elbows or small little punches to win rounds. And it's like, oh, that's not really a side of Chimaev we'd really seen before, where he's content to just kind of like squeak out a decision. But I don't think that is the norm for him. I think he will probably be gunning for a sub early in this fight, because I think that Sean Strickland is less of like a physical force to be reckoned with than DDP. I think Chimaev, there was probably a part of Chimaev that was actually kind of scared of DDP in rounds 4 and 5. Like he was like, if I gun for a sub in the first couple rounds against DDP and drain my gas tank, I will be kind of in trouble in rounds 4 and 5 against DDP. I think that was probably something that was running through Chimaev's mind. And so he was like, I can either take the high risk, high reward approach and try and get him out of there early, or I can take the safe approach, take him down, pin him, and basically guarantee that I'm going to win this fight by decision by just dominating positionally and landing shots from the top position. Nothing crazy, but hey, DDP did look pretty beat up at the end of that fight. His face was pretty marked up a little bit. And there's no doubt that it was a very dominant performance. I suppose I had some thoughts about Sean Strickland, but tell me your initial thoughts, because I've been rambling for a little while.
Yeah, but took up all the dang talking points, huh? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I just I think the differential between Strickland's advantage in the striking and Khamzat's advantage in the wrestling, people have this idea that if it's on the feet, oh, like Strickland, like he's gonna batter him. I'm like, dude, I actually don't think Khamzat's that much worse of a striker than Sean Strickland is. Mm-hmm. And then people were like, well, Sean Strickland has very tried and true takedown defense because, he defended the shots from Anthony Hernandez. I'm like, do not even bring up Anthony Hernandez when you're talking about Khamzat Chimaev. They're so different. Because Anthony Hernandez is the Marab, like I'm kind of reshoot and kind of like that's what he does, right? And that's kind of a cardio wrestling. And Sean Strickland is a cardio striker. He's very like he can go into deep water with the striking. So defending reshots like that, it's kind of second nature to him, that chain wrestling. But when it comes to Khamzat Chimaev does not shoot lazy shots. Khamzat Chimaev shoots once, and he shoots at a freight train level of speed. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Sean Strickland maybe could defend the takedowns from Anthony Hernandez and that style of wrestling, but these are almost like different sports. Like the different styles of wrestling, it's almost like a different sport, literally. Mm-hmm. So, like, dude, I think Khamzat Chimaev's going to sub him within 2 rounds. And that's my honest prediction. And yeah, you could be like, yeah, but Sean Strickland, he's never been submitted though. And it's like, yeah, but he's never been taken down by a submission grappler. Mm-hmm. Anthony Hernandez is like, he's maybe a submission grappler. I don't even know, but he never really got a takedown. Anybody who thinks that this fight will be on the feet for 25 minutes straight is a fool. A fool. This fight will hit the deck probably every round.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
Khamzat will shoot within the first 10 seconds of each round, for sure.
Yeah. And then people will be like, yeah, well, the DDP fight, like Khamzat, he kind of got fraud checked. He's not a submission grappler. I'm like, think about this. DDP, he is a power puncher in a sense. Like he has decent cardio, but like he has a lot of power in his hands. So Khamzat, in his brain, he's probably like, I should probably like take this guy down for a couple rounds and not gas out and bring this into the later rounds because DDP's power will not carry into the later rounds.
Right.
That's probably what went into his brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's smart. Sean Strickland, he's a cardio fighter, right? It does not make sense for Khamzat to take this into the later rounds because Sean Strickland will have the cardio advantage. Khamzat had the cardio advantage over DDP. Different fights. Styles make fights. I think Khamzat will recognize that Sean Strickland has more cardio than him and that he would want to get him out early. And he can get him out early because let's not act like Sean Strickland is some submission defense beast. If Khamzat has his back, I think he's going to lock in a fulcrum choke and just kind of like send it. You know what I mean? Break a jaw.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of my pitch for why I think Khamzat will get a round 1 or 2 submission.
So we've never seen Sean Strickland fight anybody who has the kind of wrestling that Chimaev has. Like, we've never seen that. There's no fight we can point to be like, we know how Sean Strickland can handle a good wrestler. Not like Chimaev. And Sean Strickland's style, I'm working on a video right now about this. In my opinion, part of what makes Sean Strickland so hard to hit on the feet, it's hard to hit clean. So Adesanya said after, he's like, dude, I just can't break through with this guy. I think makes him more like easier to take down in a lot of ways. Because you really think about it, like Strickland kind of takes two approaches when it comes to defending punches and stuff on the feet. He takes the approach of like, I'm going to dominate the inside position or I'm going to dominate the outside position. So what I mean by that is like, if you imagine Strickland, his opponent, his arms are out in front of him like this. Basically, am I going to try and stay on the inside and block the punches outward? Or am I going to try and be on the outside and block the punches inward? And he does both, right? Especially when his opponent jabs. He obviously has his backhand, like when he has his Philly shell, he uses his backhand to parry those punches to the inside. But he also, this is something he did in the first DDP fight. A lot of times what he would do is anytime DDP would kind of like put his hands up like he was about to like wing a big looping punch, because I think against DDP, he took less of a, I'm going to keep my tight Philly shell and try and parry your jabs with my backhand and kind of like just stay really tight. He took less of that approach because DDP throws mostly looping punches. He doesn't really throw straight shots down the middle. And so because of that, Strickland was like, all of DDP's punches are going to be coming around this way. And so he basically tried to dominate the inside. Anytime DDP would load up, he would do this. He would pull back a little bit. He would kind of jab so that way maybe he could kind of like hit DDP a little bit as he's crashing in, and also use it as kind of a frame. So it's kind of like a long guard. He'd kind of do this thing, and he would roll his shoulder to try and block lead hooks on his left side, and he would block overhands on his right side. So he'd be doing a lot of this kind of thing, right? I mean, you see Strickland doing this kind of thing a lot, right? When he's fighting, he'll kind of, his jabbing hand kind of doubles as like, I'm also kind of like deflecting punches that are trying to go around this way, right? And problem with that though, is that all DDP has to do is lunge forward, pop his hands up, and Strickland's going to do this. And his hips are just wide open to be taken down. And Strickland, he kind of hangs out close to his opponents. He's not one of those guys that stays at a lot of space. He's somebody who stalks his opponents. Like he'll just kind of walk forward and creep into their space at like a very uncomfortable range for his opponents. He's really good at kind of suffocating them with pressure. But against Strickland or against Chimaev, that's just so dangerous because all it takes is Chimaev just forcing him to put his hands up once, even to just like block a head kick. Chimaev throws head kicks like that. He does a really good job of using strikes that will get his opponents to bring their hands up, and then he's going to shoot for his hips, and he's going to get it. Mm-hmm. DDP took Strickland down multiple times in their first fight. He took him down once in their second fight. He took him down several times in their first fight just because of that. And I'm like, unless Strickland comes into this fight with a completely different defensive approach, I just think it's a no-brainer to me that Chimaev will be able to take him down. And I don't know how good his submission defense is going to be. I don't know how good his ability to get up is going to be. Like, Chimaev has basically kind of proven that unless the ref pulls them apart, like if he has top position, the fight's not really going anywhere. You know, so I would be shocked if Sean Strickland wins this fight. Like, genuinely shocked. I think Strickland will have to have some outrageous takedown defense, like surprise everybody and defend takedowns in the most surprising way. Like, and I just don't really see that. I don't see that being a thing. So I very much agree with the odds on this one. I think Chimaev should be a minus 550 favorite. In fact, I would even take the point spread. The point spread is minus 13.5. What does that mean?
I don't even know, dude.
What the heck?
To win like...
Wait, does that mean he wins...
To win 5 rounds?
Wait. I'm trying to think. Oh, that means 50-45 on every scorecard, I think. Right?
That's kind of steep.
50-45 and maybe 149-46. It's allowed. That's a lot.
I don't know. I would rather take an SGP and just make it submission Hamza Chimaev under 2 rounds or under 3 rounds.
Yeah,
I'd
I'm
rather do
curious what that would be.
You'd probably get like a plus a plus
Chimaev
250.
total rounds under, let's say under 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
And then sub plus 185. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean that price tag is not great, but like I think it's kind of a shoe-in. If anything was a lock in MMA, this is probably I don't even know if that's worth saying. Okay, let's move on to Taira versus Van. I think we've kind of said our piece. Chimaev submission within 2 to 3 rounds. Probably, like, I'm very confident. Taira versus Joshua Van. So I'm actually I think this is way more of a 50-50 fight than people give credit for. I really want to pick Tatsuro Taira. I really do. But the only thing that worries me was his performance against Brendan Royval. He he lost to Brendan Royval. Brendan Royval kind of defended a lot of takedowns, was kind of saucing him on the feet. And I'm like, that's kind of the pathway to victory that Joshua Van would do. And not using MMA math here, right? Joshua Van beat Brendan Royval. Royval beat Taira, so you can't say that that's why Joshua Van would win. But Joshua Van and Brendan Royval actually have kind of similar styles. And styles make fights. And so I'm just kind of like, and Joshua Van actually showed really good takedown defense against Cody Durden. And you remember this fight. You probably, I don't know, but is Ray Tsutsuriya. It's like this Japanese guy. And he was actually like a really good like wrestler. I think he actually came from like some wrestling or I don't even remember. But long story short is Joshua Van has showcased his wrestling anytime somebody tried to grapple him. I don't really think he's been taken down that much. And so I'm like, on the feet, I'd have to favor Van. And I mean, Joshua Van decision is what? Like, I think it's crazy. I think his KO prop is almost like it's more favored than his decision prop is plus 450.
It's crazy.
That's a really good price on if you can get an underdog in Joshua Van in any fight. It's always like, yikes, that's kind of nice. But if it hits the mats one time, I mean, Tatsuro Taira has proven that if he gets one takedown, he can finish a fight. So, like, I guess I'd be in favor of Taira, like 55-45, but like, there's so much value on Joshua Van, and his decision prop is so live. So,
Agreed.
I'm kind of split on this fight, more than the odds say.
Yeah, I think Tatsuro Taira, he's an excellent finisher. He's very good at like when he takes his opponents down, he will hunt for a finish, and he's very good at finding them. I actually think his takedowns are of the kind that are effective. Like they're not like Anthony Hernandez style take. Like when you're talking about that, where you're just kind of like, I just kind of come crashing in, and whoa, I grab you, and then I try and take you down. Like they're not like that. He shoots takedowns. He shoots double legs really explosively, powerfully, and he's really good at finishing them. Honestly, to me, this fight is kind of hard to predict because I don't know if have we ever seen Joshua Van in a position where he's in an inferior grappling position and he has to handle himself. I'm scared for him when I think about that scenario. And Tatsuro Taira isn't bad on the feet. He's got a huge reach advantage, but also Joshua Van is somebody who I feel like is extremely like steady. His style is just steady. Like no matter who he's facing, it just kind of works, and he doesn't get overwhelmed. At least that's what it seems like to me. Even in fights that get really chaotic, like the Edgar Chairez fight for one, but also I would even say the Royval fight got pretty chaotic too. He's just so reliable, Kind of
like an Ethan Ewing almost.
Yeah, totally. I think the KO prop is absolutely ludicrous. I don't know where people are getting this idea that Joshua Van is like a KO artist. Most of his wins have been by decision. Because if we're being honest, his power isn't his greatest feature. I think what's his better feature is like his positioning is really good. Like he's never out of position on the feet. He's good at creating angles, and his combinations are good. Like he doesn't just throw jabs and 1-2s. Like he actually throws 3-4 punch combinations. He's creative. He's really defensively tight. Those are his strengths, not his power. Yeah, sure, he knocked down Brandon Royval at the end of round 3 in their fight, but the KO win over Pantoja was a fluke. And besides that, he has 2 KO wins in the UFC. And so out of what, like 10 fights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 fights, 2 KOs or 2 TKOs. I don't see it. I don't understand how people think he's going to get a KO win over Tatsuro Taira. I either think Van decision, Taira decision, or Taira sub. I think whether or not Taira gets a sub or a decision it's hard to say, because I think if Taira wins, it's probably going to be because he dominates in the grappling, which is totally possible. But if he dominates in the grappling, why wouldn't he just get a finish? Because he's such a strong finisher. You know what I mean? So if I were to have to guess which way this one goes, I'd say it's either going to go Van decision or Taira sub. And it's hard to say. Honestly, I don't really have a good answer as to like which way it's going to go. I think the fact that the odds are pretty narrow on this fight makes sense for that reason. I kind of like Joshua Van as an underdog plus 145. I mean, that's pretty.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
Pretty tempting, but Taira minus 175 is not bad either, honestly.
Yeah, I might maybe almost take the. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. Could I see Taira getting a decision and pulling like a Charles Holloway? Like, could I see that in my mind? It's tough because we've never seen Joshua Van in an inferior wrestling position.
Right.
Where
that's why
like
it's hard to make that call.
That's what the Pantoja fight was supposed to be, and it just didn't.
Yep.
So we're like, does he have submission defense? I don't know. He could get taken down and get submitted in 30 seconds because, he had terrible submission defense. We just didn't even know. So it's one of those things that's like, I would not bet heavy money on this fight to any degree. It's very much, there's a lot of unknowns in this fight. And anytime there's a lot of unknown, like the Strickland Hamza fight, there's not really many unknowns.
Nope.
Yeah, Strickland, he could have decent defense. No. He's getting taken down almost every round, and he's probably going to get submitted. There's no unknowns there. This fight, it's not like that. It's like we don't know what Joshua Van's capabilities on the ground are. We don't know.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, this fight is I would say it's kind of hard to predict for that reason. Not really sure which way it's going to go.
Yeah. We'll move on to Waldo and Volkov.
Sure.
Okay. So this fight, I kind of have some mixed feelings because I actually went back to this fight where Waldo fought Robelis de Spain. And in that fight, Waldo Cortez Acosta basically controlled Robelis de Spain for 3 straight rounds. And Volkov kind of got like taken down by Jailton Almeida a lot too in their fight. His takedown defense is very okay. And Waldo's not a grappler, but knowing that he has it in the back pocket because of his Robelis de Spain fight, I think he's going to wrestle this fight. A little bit, at least. Not to mention, I think Waldo's an underdog. He is. And he's been on a run, dude. Volkov's good, but I think Waldo's going to knock out Volkov the same way that Derek Lewis did in probably the second round. I think he's going to wrestle the first round, kind of get Volkov to kind of like let loose and get a little bit tired. And I think he's going to strike in the second and third round. And I think he's going to get a late knockout. I don't really have that much analysis to that besides the Robelis de Spain point. But that's kind of my pick. I would say late Waldo KO. What do you have to say about that?
Honestly, I don't have much. I feel like I haven't like studied enough of Waldo Cortez Acosta. He seems to be pretty well rounded, and as far as like heavyweights go, like pretty athletic. Like a lot of heavyweights are just kind of slow, and like even Volkov just seems like he kind of just walks around, and I mean, he's skilled. Like effectively he beat Cyril Gane last year. Or was that 2 years ago? When did Volkov fight Cyril Gane? Not that long ago. I guess it had to have been before.
That was his last fight.
Oh,
Wait,
really?
No, his last fight was Jalton?
Wait a second. Cyril Gane fought Alexander Volkov in 2021. Oh, they fought twice. Mm-hmm. Wait, when was the second fight? UFC 310. Oh, that was... Wait, really? Whoops. Yeah, anyways, long story short. That was December of 2024. Wow. So it's almost been a year and a half since Volkov fought. Huh. That's crazy. Oh, no. Volkov fought Almeida last year. He beat Jalton Almeida. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know if I have much. Gracious. I don't know if I have much analysis here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I could see the Cortez Acosta win.
Cool. Okay, so this fight, Joaquin Buckley versus Sean Brady, I'm actually really, really excited for, because they almost like Taira Van. This is almost a exact copy of. They both have the strengths kind of contrast with the weaknesses of each fighter. Mm-hmm. Are you going to pick Buckley's weakness, his takedown defense, or Brady's weakness, his striking defense? Mm. And, I mean, let's be honest here. Brady got TKO'd by Bilal. And, I'm going to say that one more time. Brady got TKO'd by Bilal on the feet. Mm-hmm. Not taken down, on the feet. Mm-hmm. That might be the worst stat to have in your resume of all time. And then you're like, well, then Buckley got taken down by Kamaru Usman every round. And I'm like, okay, Usman is a crazy good wrestler. Crazy good. Maybe the second best in the division under Islam. Mm-hmm. Bilal is not even close to one of the best strikers in the division. Who is going to improve more since their losses? Brady's striking or Buckley's takedown defense? And honestly, I think I'm taking Buckley KO in this fight. And what's even amazing about that is that he is also a 1+150 underdog. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, when Kamaru couldn't defend the takedowns in the 5th round against Buckley, he was terrified. You could see it on his face. When Buckley threw, he would almost kind of bite down his mouth guard and he was so nervous of being there on the feet.
We all were watching that fight.
Dude, yeah, I was like, oh shit. I was like, when I was seeing that happen, dude, if Buckley doesn't get a takedown like that, he will get knocked out quick. I'm telling you. Keep in mind, too, this is one of the first times where Buckley's fighting somebody at 170 who's not towering over him in height. Dude, look at Buckley's resume. He's fighting guys like Nursultan Ruzaboyev. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. All those kind of people. And also keep in mind that he is the second fighter to TKO Wonderboy. Mm-hmm. That is a crazy... That win over Wonderboy is better than anything of Sean Brady. Yeah, he submitted Leon, and that's good. But TKOing Wonderboy, who's almost never been TKO'd, that is so impressive. And so honestly, he might hit the deck once in this fight, but I think Buckley's going to improve, and I think he's going to get a knockout. I think he's going to land pretty quickly on the feet, almost like a Grant Dawson versus Hispanic dude. Manuel Torres. It's Grant Dawson couldn't get a takedown, and within a minute, he just got knocked out.
Yeah.
I think the same thing's going to happen. So I'm going to take Buckley knockout in this fight, and that's plus 250. Honestly, that might be one of my most confident picks of the card, or just I think that's the most value. Buckley KO at plus 250 again in this matchup, I think is great.
I agree. There's very good. There's very good value on Buckley KO because he's He's got heavy hands. He's aggressive, long arms. And I just think we've seen Sean Brady kind of crumble against people who have a lot of pressure and heavy hands. Like Michael Morales. It would be hard to even say that about Bilal, but I suppose he lost by KO or TKO to Bilal. So, yeah, I don't know if I don't have much to add beyond that. I think some of it's going to depend on how Joaquin Buckley's takedown defense stands up. But it wasn't like, this is different than something like Chimaev Strickland. Like Chimaev Strickland, there's a guarantee that Chimaev will get him down. Let's not kid ourselves here. Sean Brady's wrestling is not like how Sean Brady's wrestling stacks up against Buckley's takedown defense is nowhere near the gap between someone like Chimaev and Strickland. And there's just no guarantee that Brady will be able to take him down. He's really crafty on the ground. He's got great submission game, but yeah, I just don't think it's too reliable. So I think Buckley at an underdog in this fight is really good value.
Yeah, it's like Sean Brady. It's like his wins, are Kevin Gastelum, Gilbert Burns, and Leon Edwards. It's like Kelvin Gastelum and Gilbert Burns are not the best aging wins. And then you go to Buckley, and he was like Colby, Wonderboy, the 6'5", Nursultan Ruzaboyev, Vicente Luque. And I mean, Luque just came off of a really good win, a sub against Kevin Gastelum in the first round.
Yeah.
So I think Buckley's wins are aging better. And yeah, I think as an underdog, I have to take him. So I think Buckley KO is a really good prop. There is a reality where Brady gets takedowns 3 rounds and gets a decision, but most likely and most value, Buckley KO. Okay, so Bobby Green and Jeremy Stephens. I mean, this is like not even worth talking about. Bobby Green is going to have a masterclass in this fight, almost guaranteed. Jeremy Stephens, he lost by knockout in a bare knuckle boxing fight with Mike Perry, and I think Bobby Green has better boxing than Mike Perry.
Yeah,
like a lot. I think Mike Perry is kind of just like the brawler mentality, which works in boxing and bare knuckle boxing, but in MMA he had like a excruciatingly bad career. So it's like, I think Bobby Green is going to style, maybe get a KO in rounds 2 or 3, but I mean, Bobby's not really a KO artist. I mean, like, you can't have the recency bias of his win over Daniel Zellhuber. Like, that was great. That was a really, really good win. But at his core, he's kind of a decision fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll say Bobby Green decision is probably most likely.
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add to that one. Yeah, I agree. Bobby Green there's just like more depth to his stand-up than someone like Jeremy Stephens, and he's aged really well, all things considered. Like, in his last fight, he looked as good as he always has, even though he suffered some rough losses in his career. So yeah, I think Bobby Green is a really safe pick here.
Yeah, I remember when he lost to Mauricio Ruffy, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this might be the end for him, you know? But dude, like the win against Lance Gibson Jr. is kind of aging well, because Lance Gibson Jr. just knocked out Chase Hooper in the first round. And then Daniel Zellhuber getting a knockout over him when he was an underdog. And I'm like, dude, it's like the Unk still got it. Like, he's kind of getting his confidence back. And yeah, I love Bobby Green. So, okay. Oteba Gautier versus Ozzy Diaz. Dude, this fight annoys me so much. I've talked to you about this constantly. Like, about the way the UFC builds prospects. I'm like, bro, why are they giving Oteba Gautier another can? This might be the worst 5-fight win streak of all time. Like, what the heck? Give him Bo Nickel. Give him a wrestler, for the love of God. For just like, why are they feeding this guy more highlights? He has highlights, a lot of them. I don't want to see him fight Tristan Vines or the local Uber driver anymore. I want him to fight actual fighters. Oteba Gautier is going to get a knockout. And like, I'm glad he faced some adversity against Pulyaev, that Russian dude. And he went to a decision, even though it was like a 30-27. But I think Ozzy Diaz is like a worse fighter than Pulyaev. I think it's like a step down. It's like, you're supposed to, ideally, if you're on a win streak, your next opponent should always be a step up. It should always be the best opponent you've ever faced. And with Oteba Gautier, it's like he fights Robert Valentin, which is like not a bad win. and then he fights Tristan Vines, and then he fights Pulyaev, and then he fights Ozzy Diaz. It's like, dude, you're like a stock market going up and down. Just like, where's the consistency? Give him a ranked opponent already.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, Tavia Gautier is very young, dude. He's younger than me. What the hell? Oh no, he's a little bit older than me, by like a month. He has only 4 fights in the UFC. This is his 5th fight. I would bet at this point, I agree with you. I think his next fight should be someone who's ranked higher up. He's fighting often, though. I mean, he fought 1, 2, 3 times in 2025. And he's already fought once this year, and he's fighting again. So he's on pace to be fighting like 3 times a year, which is great because a lot of these fights that he's been in have not taken a lot out of him, right? A lot of them have been finished in the first round. And I think this is great that he's getting a lot of experience. I agree, though, that by the time you're in your 5th or 6th fight in the UFC, if you're fighting all unranked guys, they should kind of like start to think about, okay, who at middleweight is somebody who would be a good fight that will basically guarantee he'll get a top 15 fight next. Maybe somebody like, I don't know, Chris Curtis or something. You know what I mean? Somebody like that who's unranked, but is yes, Christian Leroy Duncan's already ranked. Is Chris Curtis ranked? No, he's
Roman
not.
Dolidze. Have him fight Roman Dolidze.
Yeah, Roman Dolidze would be great. He's ranked 15.
Perfect. It's literally perfect.
Yeah, Roman Dolidze would be good. If Chris Curtis is still fighting, that'd be a good one if he wants to like have a fight to break into the top 15. But because even though, you know, everybody outside of the top 15, there is no ranking associated with them, we kind of know that like Chris Curtis, if a win over Chris Curtis kind of guarantees you more of a ranked fight than like a win over Ozzy Diaz. Like, you know what I mean? So he could fight somebody next. I think if he wins this fight, I wouldn't have any problem with giving him a top 15 guy. I mean, that's what they did with O'Malley. O'Malley had probably like 5 or 6 wins that were unranked, and then they gave him a top 15 guy. And then they fast-tracked him to a title shot by giving him... He basically fought... Who did he fight to break into the top 15? I don't remember. Maybe Sean O'Malley. Was it... Who was the one kid that he fought? Was it
He fought Raleigh Paiva. Yeah.
Yeah. He fought Raleigh Paiva to get into the top 15, and then literally the next fight he fought Petr Yan, who was ranked like 2, and he won that fight by split decision. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Dude, I want to see Seba Gautier fight like Gregor Rodriguez or like Bruno Ferreira or, you know, CLD, Roman Dolidze. Those are the fights that I want to watch. I don't want to watch this guy fight my 7-Eleven cashier. Like I just don't want to see that anymore.
Yeah.
But I think it's almost guaranteed that if he gets a knockout in this fight, he's getting a ranked opponent next, which is much overdue. But Gautier, KO, rounds 1. Yeah, round 1. That's probably like a minus 300 too. So it's not even that's like a good pick from us, like honestly. But I think we can move on. So Marco Tulio versus Roman Kopylov. Dude, this is actually kind of a banger. And what I love about this fight is that Roman Kopylov, he is an underdog at plus 160. I'm kind of surprised because Marco Tulio is coming off of a very devastating KO loss. Like an out, like I got knocked out for like 30 seconds. KO loss against CLD from that spinning back fist and stuff. And then Kopylov is coming off of his loss to Paulo Costa, I think. No, lost to Gregor Rodriguez. And I kind of get it. Like, he fought Paulo Costa and Gregor Rodriguez, and he lost both those fights to power punchers. And Marco Tulio is kind of the same style. But, dude, like, he went the distance with them. He has a win over Cesar Almeida, who's very underrated. Actually, where did that guy go?
Cesar Almeida? I don't know. I haven't seen him fight in a long time.
He's really good, too. He had that crazy knockout against Al Hassan.
I remember that one.
Last year. Anyways.
Abdul Malik.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's different. Razak Al Hassan. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Luck and twin. All right. Marco Tulio, he has fought so much worse competition. So much worse competition. I want to actually read off some of his names off the rip. So, look at this. He lost to Leroy Duncan. And then his win streak, Trayshawn Gore, Ior Potiera, and then this Dana White Contender Series guy, something Ducios. Okay. Basically, he beat Potiera and Trayshawn Gore. And then he fought, which are kind of, those guys are all kind of okay. And then he fought an actual, like, good fighter and got, like, brutally knocked out. Mm-hmm. Kopylov is a good fighter. He's really good. Very underrated. I think Kopylov decision is honestly a very good bet here. Mm-hmm. It's plus 250. Or no, plus 350.
Yeah.
Dude, sign me up. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think Roman Kopylov, I think your most convincing thing about all that is that Kopylov has just faced a lot stronger competition. Fought guys like Paulo Costa, and dude, sometimes that's all you need to kind of have a hunch as to how a fight's going to go is, yeah, matchups matter, but also just competition matters too. Like how experienced, like we're trying to compare wins in each of their careers and see how they match up, how they would match up against each other. And yeah, Kopylov has just faced much stronger competition. He's got a pretty good style. He's got good stand up. He kind of plays it safe. He's not really a finisher, so I could see this fight definitely going the distance, like you said. But yeah, he fought Gregory Rodriguez, Paulo Costa, Chris Curtis, Cesar Almeida, Fluffy. I mean, these are all guys that are like pretty solid competition, right? Much better than anybody Marco Tulio has fought. So yeah, I think Kopylov decision is a really good pick, and especially he's an underdog, which is nuts.
Funny enough, you said he's not a finisher. He has 14 wins and 12 are by KO.
I know. I think maybe it's just because since he's been in the UFC. I mean, I suppose
he has 5 knockouts in the UFC.
I know. I think it's just more recently. It seems like recently he hasn't had as many finishes. Like in the last 3 years, he's only had 1 win by KO. He lost his last 2 fights by decision. He beat Chris Curtis by KO. He won by split decision against Almeida, and he lost by sub to Hernandez. Everything before that was KO wins, but then you're kind of getting into territory like you're fighting a lot of like no-name people.
It's gonna be Gautier's career when he's like, oh yeah, he had that run where he knocked out 5 Uber drivers. And it's like, yeah, we'll see what happens when he's fighting ranked fighters, you know? Yeah, I like Kopylov decision. Okay, so let's go to Bisengur Susurkaev versus Jordan Santos. My only grievance with this is that Bisengur Susurkaev I don't think is that good. Honestly, and that might be kind of a hot take because he's a Hamzat's prodigy and friend, and like I'm like, dude, he got like almost knocked out by Eric Nolan, and that was a short notice fight by Eric Nolan. By
some
Eric
random
Nolan.
guy from like the regional scene who was basically he was basically a welterweight fighting at 85, coming off the couch, like, and was in trouble
and
a little bit.
Yeah, he rocked Susurkaev really bad at the end of the first round. I remember we were there, and when he had wobbly legs, everybody around us, like, I couldn't even hear. It was like, holy crap, you know?
Yep.
And so Jordan Santos, that point is that I think Susurkaev is going to get humbled or kind of like hype train derailed soon. Jordan Santos is not that guy, though. But there's no value. There's no value on Bisengur Susurkaev. Look at his odds.
Minus 750.
Minus 750. What? He should be at minus 300. Minus 750. It's more than Hamzat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Susurkaev is going to win a decision here. But it's like, dude, that's actually it's plus 200. That's not bad. But still, though, I think it's going to be like a 29-28 decision. That's my pick. Jordan Santos is not bad, but he's just not good either. And Susurkaev is not great, but he's better than Jordan Santos. So that's been about my pick. Susurkaev decision. I'm sure you have anything to say? Probably not.
I mean, I think Susurkaev, when it comes to like the odds, he's being kind of way blown out of proportion. And eventually there will come a day where he'll be fighting somebody who is actually a worthy opponent, and he will probably still be a gigantic favorite, kind of like Bo Nickel when he fought RDR. And that's the point. Like, you're waiting for the time to pick against him. I think Susurkaev is one of those guys.
Yeah.
It's just not
maybe
this
not
fight.
This fight, but
Nope.
It might be his next fight after this. But
yeah, pass on this one.
We're going to go over just the Amosov, Alvarez, and then the Grant Dawson, Rebecki, and then we'll call it. So for Amosov versus Yo Alvarez. I don't remember his first name for the Ukrainian guy, but he's kind of been making the rounds right now on social media because obviously he's like a war vet from the Ukrainian-Russian war. There's a lot of clips going around of him like in Ukraine. And it's kind of like, holy crap, this guy's like really good and like he's maybe has killed somebody. Like that's kind of scary. But his record is interesting because he was actually a Bellator champ. And then he defended his belt, went to fight the war for like a year or two or something, and then he came back, and then he lost his like vacated belt fight, and then he went to the UFC and he submitted Neil Magny easily in 1 round. And honestly, as funny as that is, like the Neil Magny win is like on everybody's resume, finishing Neil Magny is actually not that easy to do. Like, I mean, a lot of people beat Neil Magny, but they always beat him by decision. Submitting Neil Magny too, not knockout, submitting him, which is like Neil Magny is kind of more of a jiu-jitsu guy. It's kind of what he does. And submitting him in round 1 is actually really impressive. And Yo Alvarez is coming to 170. He was a 155er. He's at 170 now. And he's just coming off of his domination over Vicente Luque, just kind of like rustling him and just kind of like pulling a Hamza DDP and beating Vicente Luque. Yo is a sub guy. Amosov is also a sub guy. He has a lot of KOs too, but he really is a submission guy. And his only KO loss was in Bellator, and he has one, and that's his only loss. And dude, Amosov is he's a favorite, and it's one of those fights where it's like, dude, like this Bellator guy's a favorite against Yo Alvarez, who is a UFC killer. He's been in the UFC for a while. But, dude, Yo Alvarez got mauled by Arman Tsarukyan. And I know Arman is crazy good, but Yo Alvarez is not like he's not unbeatable. Right? That's to be said. And I think this fight is very 50-50, but I think I'm going to side with Amosov. I think I don't know. It's like, what do you a Bellator champ versus a kind of like up and I don't know. What are your picks? What's your take on what you said?
So honestly, I don't really have a good reference to like decide how this fight will go because it's hard to compare like the level of competition that Alvarez has faced versus the level of competition that Amosov has faced. We've seen lots of people come from lower ranked organizations who've looked really good there. They come to the UFC and they're kind of average. And then we've seen people who come from other organizations. They come to the UFC and they look great. So it's just hard to know. Again, this is one of those fights that's kind of hard to predict. Honestly, at the end of the day, this is just a fight that'll probably be really fun to watch because both these guys are good finishers. And dude, that's kind of all I got for this one. I don't really know. I don't really have a good reference for how to compare them.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I don't know why my gut is saying Amosov, and that's not like something that anybody should be like, write that down and put the house on it. I'm just saying like, it's just like, that's what my gut says. Which has really nothing behind it. So, but it's crazy how the bets placed in this fight are completely 50-50 on DraftKings. It's literally 50% bet on Yo Alvarez, 50% bet on Yaroslav Amosov. So crazy. All right, Grant Dawson versus Mateusz Rebecki. So Grant Dawson can't really strike. That's why he got knocked out by Hispanic Manuel Torres. Rebecki is a pressure striker. Went to war with Oralbai, who has great wrestling, and he defended some stuff. What an insane fight, and he still like made it ugly and did not just spend the entire fight on bottom. So most likely outcome, Rebecki KO. Second most likely, Dawson decision. I'm gonna take Rebecki KO. I think is he an underdog? I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, Grant Dawson's striking defense isn't that great, and Rebecki can make it ugly. That's the extent of the analysis I can do for this one.
Yeah, so I think I'm taking Rebecki KO at plus 275. That's the last fight, and then I'll just say I'm taking Sabatini sub decision in the Gomez fight, and I'm taking Gordon KO in the Jim Miller fight. That is all the fights for this weekend. A lot of bangers. The prelims, it's like one of those cards where the prelims actually has like decent fights. It's not just like the main card's good and then everything else is like a piss break, you know? So that's always good to see. But in that case, we will probably end it there and catch you later.
Dude, I'm pumped. Let's go.